Welcome to episode 1051. It's Thursday, August 6th, and you're listening to the Geek at Geek News Central. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Guys, got a great show lined up for you. I'm just absolutely thrilled to be back in the studio. Lots to share, of course, because of all the happenings in this past week. Almost a little bit too overwhelming, but you guys know what comes next. And if I can press the right buttons here, strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Showtime.
Aloha and welcome to Geek News Central. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran. I want to just absolutely thank all of you for joining me for the show today. Give a very, very big shout out to all of the Ohana, all the longtime listeners and viewers of the show. Thanks for being here. And thanks for letting me kind of go off and do what I needed to do in Fort Worth for Podcast Movement. It was worth the trip. I know you guys and ladies all miss me, but back in the saddle here. Lots going on. Things are getting a little bit on the crazy side in the podcasting space right now, as you probably have heard if you've been following the news with the acquisition of Midroll and the big investment at Podcast One. So lots happening. And that just, means that I'm extra busy, but glad to be here with you doing the tech show today. Those of you checking out the show for the very first time, I want to welcome you to the Ohana. And more importantly, while you're here, all you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com. And in the second column of the website, you're going to find basically links there to subscribe to the show, either on iTunes. If you're an iOS user, just click on the iTunes link. If you're on Android, click on the Android. If you want to do it old school and get reminders about this show coming out by email, we've got the old standard RSS feed. If you're completely confused and don't know how to get subscribed, there's more subscribe options linked there as well. Our newsletter is available on the website as well. The newsletter contains everything I'm going to talk about today. Things that I will be sending out will be just the synopsis of this show, including all the links. So it's not where we're going to spam you or anything like that. So scroll down the website a little bit and you'll find the link to the newsletter. And, of course, make sure that you come back to Geek News Central every day. Lots of great writers doing lots of talking about a lot of different topics. So that's exciting. Well, at the same time, got a great team of podcasters. We got Todd with the Elder Divide. We got Mr. Don Bain with the Gadget Professor. We've got Mr. Jamie Davis doing Health Tech Weekly. We've got the Pro Gear website, New Media Show with myself and Rob Greenlee. And this weekend we're going to have Elsie Escobar on as a guest this coming Saturday. And, of course, all our special media events where I post stuff up. So definitely get over to geeknewscentral.com, subscribe to all the shows that are in our family. Then what you want to do is if you have comments on today's show, you can email me directly, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or you can reach me via Twitter @geeknews. I'm on all the social sites, Google+, Facebook. You can't miss me. Just search for me. Just put in the word Todd Cochran. You'll find me. And but definitely want to thank all of you for subscribing and all of you that have stayed here with us for 10-plus years. Can you believe that we're already on the march to 11 years? It's only 3 months away, and I'm looking at the calendar on the website. And we're only at 1,051 episodes. I've been slacking. So I need to, there's no way to catch those shows up that I took off. But the number is not as important anymore as is the content. And that's the most important thing. Of course, tonight's show would not be possible without our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy's been a sponsor here for 10 years plus now, and bringing great deals to you every single month. This month is no different. If you go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, you're going to find all of our promo codes. We are in the doldrums of summer, so there are deals to be had when you're over on their website. But as you get to the checkout counter, we want you to use my codes. This keeps the lights on here, keeps the family fed, allows me to do what I do. So again, all my promo codes at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We've got 30% off on new product purchases, 99cent.com. We've got the dollar deals with a dollar economy hosting, a dollar a month managed WordPress site, a dollar a month website builder. All these come with a free domain. All the dollar deals, all the dollar per month for 12 months. The website builder, again, in addition to a free domain, and of course the fabulous website builder account, you're going to get a Microsoft Outlook email address as well. So really, you're going to have everything you need there. And business people, this is the product to get. And of course, the code for that is CJCGNC got. All my codes start with CJC, then in the middle GNC, and then a code CJCGNC 30, CJCGNC 99 for 99cent.coms. CJCGNC1 HS, CJCGNC WP1, obviously for the WordPress offer. So again, all the codes at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, you can click on them. That takes you straight to the GoDaddy site. That's a great way to keep the codes locked in and shop, mix, matched, and use all the promo codes. And you know, I even acknowledged GoDaddy when I was doing my acceptance speech for the Hall of Fame induction, and really without them, if I think about and you, so I don't want to discount that, you at all, is they're just really, allow me to buy airline tickets and be able to put food on the table and pay the electricity bill. Well, not anymore because we got solar on the roof, but that sponsorship led to help me being able to pay for a solar system. So it's all that stuff. And so we definitely appreciate GoDaddy being a sponsor here, and hope that you'll take advantage of the deals so that we can keep doing what we do. Okay, really, it was incredible. I flew out of here Wednesday night, red eye into Fort Worth, the DFW. Got in, was at the hotel by 1 o'clock, something like that. Went to check in, and I didn't order a special room, didn't order a suite or anything like that. And she kind of looked at the computer and did a little kind of a stop, and she walked over the corner and grabbed a envelope and handed me my information, and she said, "I got you on the 18th floor." Well, at the Omni in Fort Worth, there's only 18 floors. I said, "Well, that's a good sign." And up I went, and I had been upgraded to not a suite, but it was a bigger room. Really, without my wife and kids there, it was kind of like me in this big room, but that's the way it kind of worked out. But really, all Thursday was kind of spent doing some networking and doing some meetings. Friday, again, we had some big announcements that week, and some new products coming online for Raw Voice and Blueberry. So I was briefing people on that. And Mackenzie, one of my team members from Raw Voice, got in, and basically we had a couple hours, really, even to talk to the customers at our table. And then about 4:30, I said, "Okay, I'm going to go get changed." And up I went, and I got my tux on. And between 5 and, I guess, 7 o'clock, they had kind of like a red carpet event. It wasn't necessarily a red carpet as they've done in other events that I've been to where there's been an awards show, but just nice social. Had a couple of cocktails, and then it was time for the award show. So the Hall of Fame inductees were Danny Penna, and we've interviewed Danny on the new media show. Scott Sigler, I've known for many, many years. Matter of fact, him and I are, he's been sponsored by GoDaddy for a long time as well. It's kind of ironic. But Mer Lafferty, she was inducted. Adam Curry was inducted. Leo Laporte, and of course myself. So, I kind of hung out. We got there in the auditorium a little bit early. We sat right up front, set up front with two Ohana members, Tim and Jack, came out, and of course Mackenzie was there, and then of course a lot of people that I know in the podcasting space were in the audience, of course. So the awards show started, and then I slipped out to get queued up for my time in the limelight, and the the trophy that they gave me, and those of you that are watching the show, and I'll try tonight to see if I can put this on the screen so that you guys will see this on the homepage. If I can get it right here, let's see if I can. So let me do a grab of this. I can do a grab. Yeah, I did a grab. So let me do it again. Do another one, and maybe help if I look at the camera. So this trophy was just simply incredible, and it weighs like a brick, and I'm sure it's glass. It's not. I don't know. It's nice. So let me put it back here. So again, if you haven't seen it, I'll have a picture of it in the show notes tonight. But even though they didn't stream the event live, I want to tell you that I thanked all of you, and really from the bottom of my heart, for the support and the ongoing, sending me emails and comments, and all the longtime listeners of the show that have been here for years and putting up with my quirks and my ability to destroy the English language, my quirky laugh, you name it. It's been fabulous that you all have hung tight with me, and I really, I truly do appreciate it. I'm truly humbled, and I want to thank the folks at Podcast Movement and the Academy for starting the Hall of Fame. The only regret I would say is that Dave Weiner should have been on that initial year list. They reached out to Dave, could not get a hold of him. But of course, Adam Curry and Dave Weiner, in my heart, are of course both the podfathers of the podcasting space. I acknowledge Adam at the during my acceptance speech, and Adam was gracious enough to say some nice things about me when he came up. Well, hopefully we'll have the video to watch at some point soon. I really don't understand why they didn't stream it online, but they did a really nice job with the awards. Congratulate them on that. But it was a big night. It really, really was. And then afterwards, there was a bar in the hotel, and Jack and actually Jack got his club. So I got pictures of Jack getting his warrior club. So only 3 more to deliver, and so it just turned out a great evening. And then Saturday and Sunday was full on with the event and the business portion of it, and the changing hats, and making sure that we got a business to build. So it was a good show, and it's been a typical post show, like and then rush, because proposals and people want to talk, and reporters, and you name it. It's been a pretty crazy week. It's been surreal to a certain extent as well, and not to be undone here. I'm going to be heading to New York City. I have to go to New York. It's kind of a trip that has been laid on right kind of at the last minute. I'm here with you all of next week, but on Saturday the 15th, I fly out for Manhattan, and then I'll be in New York City the 17th and the 18th, so there'll be no show on Monday night. There's just no way. Big meetings both days, multiple vendors. So just, bear in mind, it's going to be a little bit of a whirlwind here in August. But if you're in the New York area and you want to meet up, potentially Tuesday night. I'm going to go to B&H Tuesday night, hit the store before they close, and then after that, and I haven't even got a hotel room yet. I might be staying in Soho. It's kind of where I'm thinking I'm going to stay when I'm in the city. Of course, I got a team member there. Going to meet up with Jeff. So yeah, it's a little bit craziness here, and the preparation to go and the presentations I have to make. It's going to have me pretty slammed and burning the midnight oil. But that said, it really that's what's kind of going on. Was installed Windows 10. Got home. I mean, Windows 10 install was ready. So I was so tired that night. I said, just go ahead. And then I woke up Tuesday morning, I guess, and everything was installed and good. And so far, no hiccups with Windows 10. Everything was good. I scored some more .show domains. I scored tech.show, geek.show. So you don't have to type in geeknewscentral.com anymore. You just type in tech.show. That'll get you here. So 2 big domains I scored. I'm real happy with those. I even got some other ones as well. Of course, last week was a big product announcement. Now the implementation of that new product is big, and we're working towards that. I think next week's going to be the launch of that product. And in the meantime, for those of you that are watching, and we're actually launching a new blueberry.com site. So those of you who are watching can actually see what the new site looks like. The completely changed up the management of the website and how it looks and navigates, and we're very quickly approaching that release. I think this is going to be available tomorrow. A brand new dashboard, ability to search and explore for shows, but we cleaned up the navigation, made it simple. 270,000 podcast listings are on that website. You'll be able to search and find any show. So those of you that are Android users, if you're looking for a podcast or looking for some shows, you don't have to go any further. You can come to the new blueberry.com starting tomorrow. You'll be finding any show that you want, and you're going to be able to subscribe to it because we've got the one-click subscribe on Android on the website. So this is the biggest podcast directory outside of iTunes, and we're really excited about being able to bring this to market. It's been ready for a while, and we're still, there's still a few things that we're going to be making tweaks on over time, but we're really trying to come up with a nice, clean, sexy look. And I'm really excited about where this is headed, and in the future of Raw Voice / Blueberry. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on business-wise and everything else. But you guys are here for tech. And I've talked a lot about the tech, non-tech at this point, but you guys have been along with this ride from the very, very beginning. You know the story here, and you know the hats that I wear, and your support all these years is greatly, greatly appreciated. We've talked about the Insider program, and I wanted to reiterate, we're here in a new month, so I wanted to reiterate our goals for the Insiders. So the goals is if 1,000 folks gave $2 a month, I'm going to hire production help. To take it to the next level, if 5,000 would give us $2, the goal would be to hire someone, pay rent, and move the studio. So we would move out of my bedroom in my house, and we would move into a studio here in Hawaii that I would be able to afford to pay, really what it would be. It'd be about $5,000 or $6,000 rent to be able to move into the studio and then have someone full-time that could help with the ongoing production. If 5,000 gave $5, and this is really, really big, I could pay rent, hire help, and basically build the network. Build the network out, multiple shows. And if 10,000 folks that were listening to the show gave just $5 a month, we could cover 12 outside events every year. We could go to a different show, to a different event. We'd be able to have enough mix match like Todd's show. Todd Ani does the Elder Divide. We could focus on purely a show that's for boomers. We could do for Jamie Davis in Health Tech Weekly. We could go and do a couple of health shows a year. Don Bain, a gadget professor, we'd get him to a couple of shows that were associated with gadgets and stuff like that beyond CES. And whatever this audience voted for us, we could go and cover. And still do what we do now and keep things moving. It would be huge. So if you haven't become an insider, please consider doing so. I'm going to talk about the insiders at the end of the show tonight and recognize them. But it is really a big deal as we move forward that you guys know what the goals are of the insider program. The regular sponsors of this show today, like I said, goes to paying the bloggers, goes towards paying my rent, the food on my table, the insurance and gas in my car. So that is, a big part of obviously the outgoing each month living here in Hawaii. So we want to thank every one of you that are an insider. I truly appreciate, and we've had some folks really step up. We've got some new folks that are contributing significantly now, $25, $30. I think we even saw a $50 contributor come in. That is huge. Huge, 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 huge. And the 2, 5, 10s are all great as well. But again, each beginning of each month, I want to talk about the Insider Program. This is the first show that I've been here for the month to do that. Won't dwell on it the rest of the month. But for those of you that are insiders, thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, we'll recognize you at the end of the show. All right, let's go ahead and move into the stuff that you guys are listening to the show for instead of me talking about this other stuff. And let me get the page loaded up here. I did update one laptop on Windows 10, and it fell over. It wouldn't let me log in. The screens were flashing, and it went crazy. So I had to reinstall, or basically back out and go to Windows 7. So one failed update. And I don't know how many of you have had any problems so far, but if you have, you're going to need the article that I found on how to uninstall Windows 10 and go back to Windows 7 or Windows 8. So PC World's got a good article on how to do that and how to back out and restore. What it happened to me at like 10:30 at night, and I had a very hard time finding how to get into that menu. And for my computer, it was F1. You keep mashing F1, and that got me into the menu. So the PC World folks have got a good article. It's a little weird, especially if you are having problems logging in. You got to get there from, basically the recovery screen at the beginning. So that's up. I'll have that link up in the show notes for you. You can search Windows 10 uninstall as well. That'll help you. But, those of you that are on Macs that want to make the jump, and I know some of you run Windows at the same time that you're running your OS 10, and so there's instructions as well on how to install Windows 10 on a Mac for free. So for years, Mac users have been thinking lucky stars that they never deal with Windows 8, and OS 10 has had its fair share of issues as well, but none can compete with the identity crisis of Windows 8. And many are curious about how Microsoft turned everything around with Windows 10. So if you are willing to take a few steps, you can install the new Windows OS on your Mac and find out for yourself what the excitement is all about. And those of you that have been telling me to go to Windows 10, it's really, so far, I'm really, really pleased. It is nice. I haven't dug in super deep yet. One thing that I want to figure out that I haven't completely figured out is the privacy settings. There's a lot of people that are poo-pooing what's going on with Windows 10, largely because there is concern that Microsoft is basically, we're sending them a lot of information. And what I want to really see is that once I get a laptop up and running, I'm going to hook it to my Wi-Fi, and I'm not going to do anything with the machine. I'm just going to let it run, and I'm going to see how much bandwidth it uses and how much stuff it's sending back to Microsoft, how much it's calling home to mama. So I'm going to get digging in. I'm going to start digging in because As the register says, Microsoft has vacated the moral high ground for the data slurper cesspit. Consumers of IT, but without all the cool consumer stuff. So they're using us as a product here. This is a free upgrade. So it appears that Microsoft is now trying to figure out what we do, how we live online, what we do online. So I will be looking very closely at the privacy settings. I'm going to be coming back to you. If any of you have good tipper articles on the privacy settings in Windows 10 and how to kind of lock it down and not have this thing call home to mama, definitely email me here at geeknews@gmail.com because I want to hear from you. And again, I haven't been really kind of focused on Windows 10 up to this point because I haven't been running it myself. And now that I am, I'm digging a little deeper. I should have been prepared, but quite frankly, been kind of busy. All right, switching topics off of Windows 10. And again, congratulations to Microsoft for the launch. And if you're waiting for your update, there is a way to kickstart it to get it before, you have to wait your time in line. So it's relatively easy to get it started. To manually say, come on, do it, instead of make me wait. The phone companies obviously are now in a situation where maintaining copper landlines is nearing its end. Copper landlines are still the mainstay of rural America, though, because of connectivity. They don't have an internet connection there. But even my local telecom, who I use as a second internet connection here, and what's actually pushing the stream out on live stream right now, they push everything into the voice IP connection. But the FCC is now requiring service providers to notify customers of their removal of copper and the drawbacks of switching to voice IP. They're making them do that 3 months before killing a copper network. Now, it sounds like a reasonable move, but customers need to know that the technology replacing their traditional landline will not work during a power outage without an external power source. But not everybody at the FCC is happy about the new rules. We had one dissenter, of course. Commissioner Ajit Pai dissented to the update and transitioning the rules. By dragging out the copper retirement process, the FCC is adopting regulations that deter rather than promote fiber deployment. Those folks like my mom are never going to get fiber down the road. It's never going to happen. It just won't. They want my mom and my sister to cut the copper line to go on their mobile device. They don't want to maintain that anymore. They don't want to maintain that infrastructure. But I'm glad that FCC is implementing this so that those folks that are on copper, that are going to be transitioned, understand what's going on, and they're being forced to provide product or a battery to keep their line on in case of emergency for those folks that are being transitioned again to a voice IP type of service over copper. And sometimes it looks the same, but it doesn't work the same. There's a lot going on in cybersecurity too, and I've got some stuff to talk about a little later. And I had an article here that a little out of sequence, so I'll come back to it. So I want to switch and just talk a little bit about some science stuff that I found, where some scientists have figured out that, well, let's just, if we back up a second, the human body, when you think about raising your arm and clicking your fingers or snapping your fingers together, there's an electrical impulse that makes that happen. We are truly, just like the Matrix says, almost a battery. We are everything that's going on is there's lots of electrical impulses that makes us do what we do. Fires a synapse and all that stuff that we learned in high school biology class so many years ago. But some scientists got curious about how life got started on Earth 3.8 billion years ago. Now, the creationist, and we're not going to argue any of that stuff. But they did an experiment where they recreated a hypothermal vent in a lab to see if they could produce enough juice to power a light bulb. So that's what these scientists at the Jet Propulsion Lab decided to do, and the electrifying results are helping unravel what they consider life's origin story. Again, everything here on Earth needs electricity, even us, as I just kind of talked about. But they were able to figure out that these deep-sea chimneys jump-started and provided current and provided, it's not like we have to plug in the ocean, okay? But they were able to basically use this experiment to have enough juice to turn on an LED light. And these chimneys acted like electrical wires on the seafloor. And they feel that this helped kickstart some of the stuff that cause organisms and stuff to form. And so this is kind of a curious experiment, but and the science is complicated, but interesting indeed. At the same time, scientists are turning skin cells into brain cells, and they feel that they're going to be able to, at some point down the road, be able to treat Alzheimer's patients with a new type of treatment to basically help get some gray matter back in there that might be hurt because of what's going on with Alzheimer's today. So using a special mix of small molecules, 2 groups of scientists in China have successfully turned skin cells into neurons. They hope that their technique could one day help rejuvenate failing tissue in brains of Alzheimer's patients. So again, the 2 teams in China focus on strategies for converting skin cells to neurons, with one group focusing on skin cells from mice and the other from humans. Result of their work are published in 2 papers today in the Cell Stem Cell magazine. So I have this link up to this particular article that Gizmodo published. I'm a sucker for cool pictures, and I think many of you are too. So here on Earth, we look up at the moon and often gaze at its brightness and beauty. But we've never really had a view of the moon in a perspective that NASA has published today. And they've got a video of basically facing Earth from the backside of the moon at a standoff distance. This is very, very awesome. And you can see the moon in the foreground with Earth in the background. None of us have. I don't think. And this, it looks like it's almost doctored, right? But it gives you some pretty cool perspective that I don't think I've ever seen before. The image was shown was snapped during the afternoon of July 16th, and it's actually available in an animated composite series that you can blow on basically got a video for this. And it was recorded over a 5-hour period by Discover, DSCOVR, which is orbiting the Earth at Lagrange Point, which is approximately 1 million miles away. EPIC is a 11.8-inch telescope and a 2K by 2K CCD device that measures UV and visible spectrum with a resolution of 16 to 22 miles and 10 narrow wavelength range. But they're able to come up with this. It's pretty awesome. Now, it's surprising how much brighter Earth is than the moon in this image. So it's almost like, when we're standing on Earth, we don't realize how bright Earth is, but we can definitely see the moon. It looks bright, right? So imagine standing on the moon. You say, "Wow, look at the brightness of Earth." So beginning next month, NASA will post new images from Discover's EPIC every day on a dedicated website. So this is exciting stuff. It really, really is. And it just gives you a very interesting perspective. Um, it's actually, you think about it, you're like, wow, that hurts my brain a little bit. But anyway, I'll have a link up in the show notes for you listening, and it'll be in the email that comes out as well. So definitely check it out. All right, NASA has coughed up $490 million for 6 more seats on the Russian Soyuz rocket. So that means we're going to get 6 rides to the International Space Station through 2018. Again, $490 million or $81.6 million per seat. We all know that this is Congress's fault because, they've cut the budget. So since 2011, NASA has relied on the Russian Soyuz rocket for getting U.S. astronauts into space, and the Commercial Crew Program is an attempt to get American astronauts back into space on American rockets. So we may get some crew up there on Made in the USA by 2017 through some of the, again, like SpaceX, Boeing. So we'll keep watching here. And, of course, a lot going on with SpaceX for them to figure out what happened to their last kaboom. Those of you that are familiar with the Internet interworkings know that the ICANN, ICANN, it's a pretty important organization. And they are responsible for the management of key parts of the Internet infrastructure, including the domain name system, DNS, basically the phone book, that when you put in geeknewscentral.com, you come to my website. Again, this is handled by the ICANN department, the Internet Assigned Number Authority, IANA, but it appears the ICANN was hacked. They didn't get in too deep, but this is the second hack of ICANN in its, I think, last 6 or 7 months. So they better get their act together here. If someone gets in there deep, the whole Internet will collapse. Not literally, but it could give hackers ways to get places they shouldn't and get in the middle of the stream and collect data that they should not be collecting. Over in ZDNet, they've written an article about attackers can access Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive without a user password. This is a demo that was done at the recent Black Hat Conference in Vegas this past Wednesday by security firm Impreva that showed how a man-in-the-cloud attack can grab cloud-based files as well as infecting users with malware. It's pretty serious stuff. What's interesting, they proved that they can do it. Dropbox and Google did not comment on it and declined to comment on the record at all. So they've got a problem, and they're going to have to fix this. And, this is what Black Hat does. They show all the naughty stuff that's going on and what can be accomplished and how really insecure we are these days. I don't think there's any way to totally secure all documents, all servers. I don't know. I think it's impossible at this point. People can try really good, but there's just so much stuff going on in the space. And for those of you watching, yes, I'm itching my foot. I don't know why. It's driving me crazy. If you're into Nexus, or if you like the Nexus product line, the major Nexus 5 leak may reveal full specs and pricing. So I'll have that link up in the show notes for you. But the Nexus 5 is due to be out sometime this year. But there is definitely looks like a major leak, and with all the specs and details and potential pricing. The FCC has decided they're not going to give T-Mobile any extra help against AT&T and Verizon in the upcoming auction. We kind of knew this already, but they voted today to deny T-Mobile's request for extra help, and this is a hugely important auction. For decades to come, and T-Mobile's been pushing the FCC to set aside a block of up to 40 megahertz or more that wealthy giants like AT&T and Verizon cannot touch. The commission instead voted to keep the reserve block of spectrum capped at 30 megahertz. So while it may be a loss for T-Mobile, it's a net win. Tom Warps explained, to keep the reserve at 30 megahertz earlier summer, the current reserve size of 30 megahertz balances desires to make low-band spectrum available to parties with limited holdings while facilitating competitive bidding for all auction participants. So the auction is supposed to begin early next year. It will have all of the wireless giants bidding on spectrum within the 600 megahertz range, which is particularly valuable as far as spectrum goes because it's such a low frequency. They get good penetration. It goes through walls, can travel over a long distance. So that means more speed, more speed, more speed, more speed. So this is what the FCC has decided. Not surprising. So some people are going to have to pull together, get some serious cash to make it happen. If you have an Apple Watch, you definitely want to download the Microsoft Translator app. Available on the iPhone. You can grab it. This was kind of surprising me that that's actually available. But this Microsoft Translator for iOS and Android seems to be getting some pretty good reviews. So if the true test is on Japanese. You can do Spanish and you can do French, but when it comes to Japanese, I never found a translator program that works really good. And I heard it's the same with Russian too. It's not really good. Maybe get the point across, but sometimes they come up with some crazy translations. There's a report out on ComputerWorld.com talking about U.S. internet connection speeds still lag behind other developed nations. The average U.S. internet connection speed continues really to be slow as compared to everyone else. The first quarter of 2015, Akamai said the average U.S. internet connection was at 11.9 megs per second, considerably below the 23.6 mark posted by South Korea, which has the fastest average connection speed worldwide. The top 10 was dominated by countries from Europe and East Asia, including Hong Kong, Sweden, and the Netherlands. The U.S. placed 19th in the world rankings. So we're up a little bit, but not a lot. Those of you that upgraded your iOS device, Apple Music has hooked 11 million free trial members. So that's good news for Apple. How many of those people convert into paying customers once the trial is over? That is yet to be seen. Those of you that are developers out there, Microsoft has open sourced its tool for porting iOS apps to Windows. Instead of having to pay for it now, you can get it for free. So that's a pretty big deal. And I don't know why they didn't make it free to begin with, because, if they want to get people to port their apps, they just got to make it lower the barrier. Over in Ars Technica, this guy's out working on his car, and a police officer rolls up outside his driveway and sitting out on the street, and the police officer starts taking pictures of the guy. And the guy that's in his driveway is like, why is this dude taking pictures of me? So he takes his camera and he takes a picture of the police officer that was taking pictures of him. Now check this out. The police officer exits his car and approaches this guy on his property, telling him to take his hands out of his pockets. The officer then unholsters. Again, they didn't call the police. This is in a quiet residential neighborhood. The officer unholsters his weapon, pointed at the ground most of the time, and starts talking to this guy. He says, "No, sir, I've done nothing. I've done absolutely nothing." Putting another phone and his keys on top of his own car. Now, he filmed this police officer doing that. The officer, later identified by the Santa Rosa Press Democrat as Dave Rodriguez, continues to argue with the man. McComas eventually asked why Rodriguez got out of his vehicle, prompting his odd exchange. The officer says, "You take a picture of me, I'm taking a picture of you." McComas says, "You take a picture and leave." Officer says, "Okay, I don't have to leave." And the homeowner says, "Neither do I." So it kind of turns into this weird standoff. Shortly after that, McComas asked the officer, "Am I suspected of a crime?" The officer, still gun unholstered, next says, "If I did, I would arrest you." So the guy says, "Okay, so go ahead and have a nice day. Get on and down the road." Well, the city manager is looking into this, but it's just a weird exchange. This guy comes up in his driveway. I don't understand. It's on the end of like a cul-de-sac. So it's just a weird. And again, I don't know if the guy. I don't know the racial profile of the guy that was in the. I shouldn't say profile. That's the wrong thing to say. I don't know if the gentleman that was being accosted by the police officer was black, white, Indian. I have no idea. But why did he stop? That's the question. Why did he, So keep your phones ready, folks. All right? Keep your phones ready. The EFF has finally gotten approval. Excuse me, the EF finally gets to ask an appeals court to look at the Fourth Amendment question over NSA's backbone sniffing. Now, they had been rejected up to this point, and they took it to appeal, and finally the court has said, yep, you can ask this question. So they're going to be able to talk about an individual who feels his Fourth Amendment rights have been violated and apply to this case that he is the party that has been rights been violated. Up this time, they've tried to separate it. So this is going back to the lower court, where I'm sure the government's going to have some discussions here. But the EFF's filings weighed heavily on last year's Supreme Court ruling in the Riley case, which found that mobile phone searches without a warrant to be a Fourth Amendment violation. So maybe we're going to get some time in court here to just basically get some constitutional principles going again. All right, Alibaba. Yes, that's the website that the company in China that is kind of like Amazon. They've exclusive tie-ups with global brands to sell in China. So they're basically making exclusive deals so that other vendors in China cannot, basically sell against them. So very, very smart. Who are the companies? 20 apparel brands, including Zara and Timberland. The Chinese e-commerce giant on Thursday, the latest step to woo big international brands. So, good for them. Next up tonight, Google is putting the hammer down to sneaky Chrome add-ons that try to install themselves while passing themselves off in a banner ad or something like that. So basically, Google's going to squash Chrome add-ons installed from websites. So if the extension deployed what it's called deceptive tactics. Now, if you have like a approved app or approved extension that is not being considered sneaky, you may not be sent to the App Store. But if it is, they're going to force the browser, the person that's using the browser, to go to the App Store to read about the app before they actually approve it for installation and activation. So this will be on what day are they releasing this particular version? I think it's coming in September. But good on Chrome for trying to protect the users. There's been an update to the iPhone, and hopefully you're not going to get stuck or be logged on to a Wi-Fi site just randomly. They're working on an update, or actually releasing an update to make the Wi-Fi work a lot better in iOS 9. There's another hack of the government. The unclassified email network, the U.S. Military Joint Staff. So these are like the top dogs in the military infrastructure. Has been, and this is the they say the unclassified system, which is often called Nipper Net. I don't even remember where that designation came from. There are higher systems, obviously, but the lowest system, the one that's supposed to not have any classified information, it may have like for official use only type stuff. But it looks like the Russians. The official who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity did not say what country was to blame. NBC cited unnamed officials attributing the intrusion to Russia, saying, however, it was unclear whether it was the work of the Russian government or of individual hackers. So the Pentagon has declined to comment, and it did acknowledge on July 28th that the unclassified network of the U.S. Military Joint Staff was taken offline. So someone's busy over there disinfecting machines, probably. Good article on Computer World by a guy by the name of Michael Horowitz. He did some snooping around, and again, these guys are doing snooping around while they're flying on the Wi-Fi on the plane is often been criticized, but he was actually looking at the onboard Wi-Fi, and he did some examination of it and protocols and looked at the security, and he's got a pretty frank article. It may be, you may want to be careful when you're buying internet in flight, and especially if you're doing any sensitive work. It's not 100%, doesn't look like, at least in this write-up, and this was with GoGo with Virgin Airlines, that it is completely secure. Someone might be able to sniff around a little bit. Again, I'll have the link up in the show notes for you to check it out. But his biggest advice was, even on an airplane, you need to be using a VPN. So very, very, and that's kind of surprising to me. But he goes into the full detail, and you'll be able to take a peek at that and see what's going on. This should not come as any surprise, but President Putin, yes, the Russian president, has laid claims to the North Pole. He says, this belongs to Russia. No one else can use this. According to the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, why isn't this loading? Let me click that again. Each nation is entitled to an exclusive economic zone that extends 200 nautical miles into the ocean from the nation's baseline. Russia, however, is invoking a separate rule because it can demonstrate that the continental shelf on which it sits actually extends farther than 200 miles. In such cases, the law recognizes a 350-mile limit. So the United Nations rejected that claim in 2002. So at this point, they are... How come that's not loading? Internet's still up. Am I still live? Let me double check. Make sure I'm still live. But that page load... Yeah, it says the stream is good. Okay. So, yeah, the Russians are being stupid, trying to claim the North Pole. Police officers were caught on a video raiding a pot dispensary. It appears that they were sampling some of the product while they were there. So now the police officers are suing to keep that video private and out of any proceedings that they're being investigated for dereliction of duty. So, yeah, if you're going to go raid a pot dispensary, it's probably not a good idea wearing a badge, carrying a gun, to be sampling the product. It just blows me away. They were eating pot lace edibles. Don't these guys have to take your analysis test to prove that they're drug-free? You think that would be a subject for firing. Republican presidential candidate, former tech executive Carly Fiorina, has called on Apple and Google to provide greater access to information about their users to FBI and law enforcement in order to aid investigations. Really? After they are hacking their systems? She says, I certainly support that we need to tear down cyber walls, not on a mass basis, but on a targeted basis, she said in response to a question from a moderator. I do not believe that we need to wholesale destroy every American citizen's privacy in order to go after those that we know are suspects or are suspect or already a problem. But yes, there's more collaboration required between private sector companies and the public sector. So in other words, she doesn't want these companies to put, encryption on the devices. They want to make them open so they can get in there and snoop around. Over in CNET, apparently the Australians have figured out a better way to get over a hangover. And having drank with a few Aussies a few times, man, you just, listen, take my advice. If any of you are planning a trip to Australia, or if you are meeting up with some Australian friend, Do never go beer to beer with these guys. You will lose. You will lose. But it appears that pear juice may help prevent having a nasty hangover. So they recommend that you drink 220 milliliters of pear juice before you go out drinking. And that will help you with what does pear juice taste like? I don't think I've ever had pear juice before. Ugh. Okay. If that's the key is not to drink very much. That's the true solution. All right, Tesla Model X finally gets a firm release date. And if you're one of those folks that have already put a pre-order in, like there's 13,000 of you waiting to get a Model X, September. So September is the date. They already have 24,000 Model X reservations. So if you want one, you're going to wait a while. As compared to the Model S, which is just a beautiful vehicle, which has approximately 12,000 reservations. So the Model X, if you want to get one, you're going to wait a while. Over on Variety.com, they're taking a little shot at companies like Time Warner and so forth. They're saying media stocks continue to slide down as Netflix shares go up. And yes, I think people are starting to realize the day of the dinosaur cable companies is coming to an end. And they're worried that it's going to be expedited. You look at the Midroll acquisition. They were acquired by Scripps. Now, Scripps Network Interactive, and AMC Networks, they have a whole bunch of channels and stuff. So, if Scripps is thinking about the podcasting space, and the company that invested $10 million in Podcast One, all of us in podcasting space are sitting in a great, great position. All right, Best Buy is failing to raise some return devices before reselling them. If you're taking a device in for warranty work, and you're going to get a new device, please factory reset. Factory reset. Wipe it clean before you send it off. It's so easy to recover your phone or your iOS Android device. Please erase them. And don't forget, if you're turning in like Apple TVs or Roku, those are all tied to your account. Make sure you reset all that before you send them in. How are we doing for time? 57 minutes. So we're doing okay. Drone can stay in the air for 2 days to spot fish poachers. So there's a new company called Aerovel has begun manufacturing its flex rotor drones with the fishing industry in mind. A $200,000 UAV can take off and touch down vertically using their two-bladed propeller. And apparently they've had a contract with the Navy since 2012, so this sounds like a pretty experienced company that basically they're going to use them for commercial fisheries to be on the lookout for people doing naughty stuff within those fishing zones. HBO Now has got Chromecast support on iOS and Android, so that's good. If they're an HBO Now subscriber, you can Chromecast it. So very, very cool. Good job to HBO. The Electronic Frontier Foundation is now officially announcing their Privacy Badger. Its version 1.0 edition blocks the sneakiest kinds of online tracking. Again, it's a browser add-on, prevents data collection from ads and other hidden trackers. So the EFF has been testing this for a while, but they've got over 250,000 people that are already using it. But there'll be links on the website. If you want to go direct, it's EFF.org/Privacy Badger, version 1.0. And good job, EFF, for watching out for us. Over at MakeUseOf.com, I found 5 YouTube videos how to get really excited about smart homes. I think this is where I'm going to be kind of focusing next, is getting my house smarter. And just, I'm a geek. This is what we do, right? So there's 5 pretty cool videos that talks about ways to set up your house and different types of equipment you can buy and technology that's available. And love to hear what gets you excited about home automation and being able to have a more smarter house. I'd like to have a house that I could open the windows up for a little while and then close them back up just to kind of let, in the daytime here in Hawaii, I don't run AC in the house, and the temperature builds. But it would be nice if my security system said it's all clear and open up a window and let some air to go through the house. And if there's a potential threat, the house would be smart enough to close windows and lock itself down. That's the kind of stuff I'm excited about, because use natural air, the wind, the trade winds, wherever you may be, to cool your house instead of an AC. Now, some folks, I don't want to get dust or dirt in my house. I can understand that. But I live in a state where it's all red dirt, baby, and that red dirt gets everywhere no matter what. But home automation excites me. If you're a GIMP fan, apparently the GIMP website was down today. They may have forgotten to renew their domain name. That's not good. And more news from the FCC. They may finally start judging broadband on more than speed. So finally, they're going to take other things into consideration. It's a satellite. How good's the connection? What do they really get from the connection? But broadband deployment isn't happening rurally. And they've got 55 million Americans without access to broadband-capable internet that delivers high-quality voice, data, graphics, and video offerings. And so they're going to be a little bit not naughtier, but maybe thorough in their upcoming broadband report, which will come out next year. But at least they're going to dig in a little bit deeper and not just talk about speed. Hey, a Japanese court has ruled that Bitcoin cannot be owned in Japan. So a lawsuit that was pending there is not moving forward, even though the gentleman who ran Mt. Gox is, I believe, been arrested and charged with fraud concerning the collapse. But a gentleman that lost $130,000, which what his Bitcoins were worth when the site went down, has been denied the ability to go after the owner because they say that the Bitcoin cannot be owned. It's not a tangible asset in Japan, which I find to be pretty curious. At the Consumer Electronics Show, I've got to see the Audi A3, and the e-tron is going to be available starting at $37,900 in the United States. It's going to roll out in October. This is a vehicle that is another stunning vehicle. But the A3 e-tron Sportsback, again, that has a hatchback with it, will arrive at dealers in the October 37.9. It carries a 1.4 four-cylinder engine boasting an electric motor for 204 horsepower. The EPA fuel economy stats haven't been announced yet, but you can expect around 8 hours of charge time via standard 120-volt outlet. You can reduce weight by 2 hours with a more high-charge system. But before it's all over, you're probably going to have 42,000 in. And if you upgrade to a much higher level, you can be as high as 50 grand on this Audi A3. But my suggestion is, if you're going to spend $50,000 on a vehicle, just go buy the S model. You're a ham radio operator? I've always been curious about being a ham radio operator, but never had the time. I've listened to ham stuff before on a receiver only. But a guy in the UK called the International Space Station from his backyard, and you can do so as well. So if you're wanting to get in and talk to the off-duty astronauts, there might be a way to do that if you keep track of the International Space Station's orbits, and you get on their band and basically give them a holler if you've got a 3-meter dish. Not 3-meter dish, but a 3-meter setup. Tesla's not alone on potentially being hacked. Tesla Model S owners have been told that their cars can be shut down, but the person that would have to hack the vehicle would have to be in the vehicle. It's nothing that's being done for the Teslas from the outside, even though I know they're trying. But so that's good news. I don't think any of your riders are going to be hooked into your car with a computer to try to shut you down. If you're a Yankees fan, you can scan your thumb and provide a copy of your driver's license on file to get into the stadium faster. So they're using Clear to basically clear people to get in to make it faster to process. So I guess you come up to the Clear booth and you put your thumbprint down. I have a little bit of issue giving my fingerprints to a non-government agency. When I was active duty and Uncle Sam wanted my fingerprints for my file, that was their prerogative to get them. But I don't know about having my fingerprint, which I use now to unlock my cell phone, and I unlock my computer and all that stuff. I don't know if I want my thumb on file. I really don't. So I'd have to think about that a little bit. I wonder if they'd take a pinky. Hey, Apple has updated their website. If you go there now, it looks like just one big sales page. So Apple trying to squeeze every dime they can out of people as they're visiting their website. All right, so let me look here. I've got the last show was on the 27th of July. My God, it seems like forever. And I do have some emails. So I got an email from Bree. She says, "Hey Todd, could a free?" Oh, I think I talked about this on the last show. 27th. I swore I talked about. So, oh no. So that's why the last show, was on the 31st. So let me scroll down here. And okay, so I got an email from MS Small Biz talking about Windows 10. Todd, Windows 10 is out. Yeah, big news. And a giant data access grab by the feds begin. First off, the privacy statement from Microsoft Windows 10 is 45 pages long. They have a long list of things that Windows 10 will sniff, store, and transmit to Microsoft servers, including your browsing history, your voice, your search requests, your stored Wi-Fi passwords, and SSIDs. Oh, that's nice. So Uncle Sam drives by, he's got your passwords. The list is long and inclusive, and by default, this data is sent to Microsoft, but you must opt out, not opt in. Many of the things Microsoft is gathering you cannot opt out of or find the settings to do, which is nearly impossible. Now, the above is not as nearly as bad as what Microsoft has done in protecting your system with BitLocker. If you decide to encrypt your computer with BitLocker, that's your tablet, desktop, or notebook, and I assume phone in Windows 10 will now store your recovery key on Microsoft OneDrive servers. For those that don't know what that means, your key to completely decrypt all your encrypted and secure data is now stored on a third-party server under the control of Microsoft. As the third party is now the possession of the recovery key, all that is required to force Microsoft to hand over that recovery key is a subpoena issued by someone as low as a high school educated magistrate. No warrant is required. You won't know if somebody's ordered Microsoft to turn over your key, nor will you be able to get in front of a judge to argue against it. So, cops take your phone at a traffic stop. He can get the key to unlock your data. Traveling through a port city or live within 100 miles of the border, Border Patrol can take your device, image them, and then order Microsoft to hand over the encryption key. This is bad, very bad. So, again, I talked about a little bit about things going on in Windows 10. We're going to dig around and see what we can do to help you lock down your system. And then we'll see what else is still being sent home to mama. Some rumors from Jeff saying that Apple may become a network carrier, which would be very, very curious. So in other words, they would basically sell phones under their own network brand, rebuying. They're basically becoming a reseller. So very, very cool. Got an email here from Ron. He said, "Hey Todd, thanks for a great show and congratulations on your Hall of Fame award. It is well deserved." Ron, thank you so much. He says, "You ought to give this link a quick scan. GE's new cloud for industry concept. This seems like a smart move by GE. They are the first ones I have heard of addressing this niche. All the buzzwords in the web marketing piece are straight out of the current Internet of Things fad that is all the craze in consumer electronics. If they can properly move into this space, they should be able to make a bundle. For it to truly work, they will need to ensure that they have the talent to configure a customer's system from end to end. As they point out, 80% of the issue is data normalization and prep. That is also very customer specific. This will be a fun one to watch. Warm regards, Ron in... so that's very cool. So let's look at this. Let's see if this will load. This cloud concept that they're talking about. And yes, we're long. This is way too much to get into this part of the show. Link will be up in the show notes from Ron. And I got an email from Bree. She says, "Hey, Todd, very cool. interactive solar system website at solarsystemscope.com. I think you'll find it interesting and fun. And Bree, I did check it out. Yes, very, very cool. So definitely everyone, solarsystemscope.com. Definitely give it a look. Okay, so let me see if I can very, very quickly here go through. Again, I want to thank all of our insiders. Am I in the right email? No, I am not. So, don't want to see invoices because I've got invoices from my podcasters. So I want to thank Michaelene. Oh my gosh, Michalene. Some Michaelene. So I thank you for your contribution. And let me go down here. Let me see if I can get. Oh, come on. Yeah. I'm all thumbs. I want to thank Ryan. I want to thank Trucker Tom. And if I missed someone tonight, major apologies. Michael. Want to thank. Let's see here. Come on now, computer. How come you're not letting me scroll? All right, that's why. Dino, Mika, David, Michael, Curtis, Todd, Andy, Deborah. I got some of this here. Ken, Gary, Kirk, Denise, Bo, Nigel, Dale, Barry, Andrew, Michael. I had one-time payment from someone else too. John, Ryan. I think we've covered them all. So thank you for contributing this month. If I missed someone, I apologize. I tried to make sure I save all those. It's greatly appreciated. I thank you for becoming an insider. We've obviously got a long way to go to meet some of our goals that we talked about at the beginning of the show. But it's been my pleasure to bring the show to you tonight. Got this beautiful Hall of Fame trophy back here, largely because of all of you. Thank you so very much. And if you got comments on today's show, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter @geeknews or on Facebook or Google+. I am just about out of gas tonight, so I'm glad the show's coming to an end at this point. Thank you for being here with me, and we'll see you on Monday. Yeah, everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Everyone take care. Aloha. YouTube. Bye-bye.